Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Marie Brio.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from two socially distant studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide. Illinois is actually a blue island in the middle of a sea of red. And you can find all of our previous episodes as Marie and I bring our message of progressivism and the Democratic Party across the Red Divide all the way to California on Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com, all podcast platforms, and Demcast USA. So, Murray, we have one of our favorite topics today.
Oh, yes. Today is going to be an amazing show, guys. I'm really excited. So let's. Heidi and I have talked for a long time about a term that we sort of coined called mercenary capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the fundamental belief that corporations are worth more than humans
Yes.
and how that drives everything in our nation. So we took a little dive down history, and my son's taking AP US history, and we started, and he was talking about mercantilism. So we started to do a little digging, and mercenary capitalism is mercantilism. So we want to let you know exactly why and how and the reason everything is so incredibly screwed today.
Right.
And that is because of mercantilism.
Exactly,
Our
Murray.
nation was founded on mercantilism. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk a little bit about what mercantilism is before everybody zones out. Uh, so mercantilism is a philosophy that in order to create a strong people, the states had to regulate commerce and trade. So consolidate power. And this happened before we were formed in European countries, Russia, other nations began the use of mercantilism as a
Right.
guiding premise.
Right.
So that became trade, and raw materials and resources became the ultimate prize. So as the British and other countries started to settle the United States, we were seen as a tool to increase their trade, their power, their wealth. That's all the colonies were considered to be at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we get into an interesting dichotomy here. So come along, some folks are like, hey, we don't want, we were all taught in history class that it was, they didn't get the representation that they deserved. And it was about taxing. No, you know what it was really about? It was really about wanting to grow and have more power and more control as an independent nation.
Right.
So mercantilism drove everything we did. It drove the development of the colonies. It drove trade. It drove the
Colonialism.
French Indian War, colonialism.
Mm-hmm.
And we rejected that supposedly throughout history, right? We rejected it and started our own form of government. And it wasn't. It
Sure.
was actually the same principles and the same driving ideology.
Yes.
So look at Hamilton, right? We love Hamilton. I love Hamilton. I'm such a Hamilton fan. Have you seen Hamilton?
I have not.
Oh my goodness. It's an amazing, amazing
Yeah.
show, and it's very relevant. And one of the interesting points they don't mention is that Alexander Hamilton, who was the Secretary of Treasury for George Washington,
Right.
was a mercantilist
Yes, he
because
was.
he wanted the consolidation of wealth and power, and
Mm-hmm.
that became the driving force. Resources were more important than people. You had to have cheap labor. So he basically created the foundations of this nation based on mercantilism.
Yes,
Now, yeah, right? Like, we were founded on mercenary capitalism.
we were.
I, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Every facet of our lives is controlled by mercenary capitalism. So we go through history, and then Jefferson came in and he kind of sort of pushed away that idea in favor of just capitalism.
Right.
But mercantilism didn't disappear. Mercantilism has come and gone throughout the centuries.
Yes.
So as Europe died away, it then resurfaced with fascist dictators in the 1930s and 40s. It also resurged with the 2012s as the world began to recover from the greatest economic depression that we've had.
Right.
As the world began to recover, we saw a turn to a populist message, which allowed mercenary capitalism to grab even further hold.
Well, in
And that ideology is the only people that matter are the wealth makers. The
Murray,
only ones that are important.
oh yes, and we've seen this through history in the United States with the carpetbaggers after the Civil War, right? And the robber barons of the late 1800s into the early 1900s. And then we saw that in the pushback leading up to the Second World War, right? When we had fascism trying to take over the United States and the pushback from FDR that said, no fascist state. The United States is not that. So, and like you said, we've seen this. FDR did so much excellent work to try to make this a fair and equal society for all of us, right? So that we wouldn't be left into poverty or sickness.
I think that was one of the closest we came to having a functional, intelligent government
right.
back then, one that actually worked for the people,
right,
as opposed to the corporations. You know, we talk about corporate Democrats, right? We talk about the corporate class, and it is very true. Democrats or Republicans, doesn't matter. Whatever side you're on, the driving force is money.
Always.
Because you can't win campaigns if you don't have money.
Nope.
You can't go out and do things if you don't have money.
Nope.
So who do we assume has the largest impact on the economy? The false idea is that the merchants, the money makers, the wealth creators, which is the mistake. It's not wealth creators. That's what we call them. Mm-hmm. Are the most important people. So, you know, look at the deregulation of everything, every industry, fighting states that want to make their industries safer and healthier. That's a part of mercantilism. That's a part of mercenary capitalism. If I can cut costs, I can get more production and I can get more money, and it has nothing to do with the people that live in our country. It has nothing
to do. They will cut costs and make a higher profit margin at the expense of people, at the expense of injury, at the expense of the environment, at the expense of everything. In fact, Murray, a lot of our things are made outside of the United States because mercantilism went from being a philosophy to grow the colonies with. It went from being a philosophy for country and into individual. Okay, so one of the cornerstones of mercantilism is the accumulation of precious metals, right? Which is money, gold, silver, whatever. Well, why somebody sits on a golden
currency?
Toilet.
Yep,
currency. So instead of the country to become wealthy, Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon made it possible for our jobs to flood out of the United States so that people could become wealthier by our manufacturing going to countries where it is cheaper, where labor is cheaper. And part of NAFTA, which I've always been opposed to, was for that very purpose. It was not to grow country. It was to grow individual wealth. So mercantilism became mercenary capitalism. That's where I think you and I see that change.
Absolutely. It's the ultimate dollar without considering the lives of those that is supposed to support that.
Right.
So you just mentioned something, and we talk about it, and mercantilism also devalues agriculture.
Mercantilism
my God, also devalues small business, small enterprise.
Yes.
But agriculture gets the benefit if they are a corporation.
Right.
If they are a large corporate farm.
Mm-hmm.
And that filters down. So we're killing these same people who are telling you that their way is the best way. Capitalism is the greatest. We do things the right way. Are killing our small industries.
Farmers.
They're killing our enterprises.
Yes.
They're killing our independent folks. They're farmers. And so we devalue farm and quality food.
Right.
We increase the value in mass production and regardless of health. So again, you're pushing every aspect of our life Mercenary capitalism and the foundation of mercantilism is invading each part. I mean, look at the. Okay, we were just talking economics. So part of the trend for our country to go more back that way with Donald Trump is the trade wars. He
Oh
didn't
God.
care about the farmers or what the farmers needed or
No,
how it would
Murray,
work.
he
It
didn't care
was an
about
attempt.
the small farmers. He cared about corporate farmers and the ag. As a farmer, I know. Any farmers watching us know that the farm bills benefit big ag. They don't benefit family farm, right? So, or not as much. Like I'm going to use the 2015 bill, the drought bill. Um, the small family farmers got new tractors and new sheds. Everybody out here by me has a 2015 something they got because we had a drought. However, big ag got bigger things. They got
A lot bigger
a lot
things.
bigger things. But if you're happy with that new tractor, you'll let them have all the bigger things.
Heidi,
Hmm.
let's take it to current day. The Paycheck Protection Program that was put in place to help small businesses and big businesses
Not mine.
stay on their feet,
Not
keep
mine.
their employment, keep their employees employed, work on preparing for when the pandemic was up, right?
Yeah, it wasn't available to
Who
mine.
got a majority of that money? It went to gigantic
Yes.
multinational corporations
Hmm.
without every time the federal government does any sort of a bailout, who gets it?
It
The
goes
big
right to the
guys.
top. Yeah, because they say that
Why?
well,
Because we are mercenary
capitalists.
capitalists.
I
Because
know,
we're under the
Murray.
false assumption that only wealth creators are the only ones of value in our society. And
Yeah.
it's insane to me.
Well, Murray, I for my small business, I applied for a PPP loan, right? Because I had employees I had to lay off when the pandemic hit. But because I only had about $42,000 in payroll last year, they're like, sucks to be you, you know. So I have been paying them out of my own pocket because my business is 20% of what it was before, and we're going along. And but I see and I know, and people who have lost their businesses, and or who have shuttered for right now, or are doing less than what they can, and the pushback for some businesses about simple things like wearing masks and washing your hands and having limiting how many people are in your building at any one time. Those people are putting themselves out of business. Those of us that have complied and tried to do better, to try to make the changes we need to keep people healthy, because I know, thanks to mercenary capitalism, my insurance doesn't cover me, my liability, if somebody gets COVID-19 out here. And I think we need to talk about how COVID-19 is impacted by mercenary capitalism, because the three countries, Murray, the three countries with the highest infection rate, that would be India,
India,
Brazil,
Brazil,
and the
and
United
the
States,
United States.
are all what do we call those people? Economic nationalism,
And that is mercantilism. Another
mercantilism.
definition of mercantilism is economic nationalism.
S-
And Heidi, bring up two really good points. One is the fact that we had this resurgence to a populist message
right,
after the big global economic depression,
right.
and that's when Modi and
Modi
Bolsonaro and Trump all
and
began to get
Johnson,
hold of power.
but Johnson got
So then
COVID
we take
19, so
right, and then he changed his tune
he
a little
changed
bit.
his tune. Yeah,
We take this right, and
yeah.
we apply it to the crisis that we have.
Hmm.
This virus comes. Let's not even focus on any stupidity and lying and whatever Bob Woodward's book is going to say happened.
Yeah,
Strictly the fact that he was a mercantilist or a mercenary capitalist drove every decision that the president made. It drove decisions of who got money. It drove decisions of not to publicize it, not to talk about it, to downplay it, because he wanted the economy to stay strong. He wanted the stock market to stay strong because nothing mattered except the economy, and not even the economy as a whole. The only thing that mattered to him were large
right,
corporations
Right, because small business
And
is left out.
exactly. And
Yeah.
that is the driving force between everything he did. No national response,
No.
no letting the Democratic governors flounder, not admitting there was a problem, not fast lighting things that aren't true for political gain. All because of mercenary capitalism.
You know,
And none of those people out there went, hey, stop.
well, Marie, I, I can't. I mean, I cannot wrap my head around the fact that instead of taking a global health crisis and addressing it as a world leader, we just threw caution to the winds and said, it's all about the economy, stupid. It isn't. Because without healthy people, you don't have an economy. And we are seeing the direct result of that right now. The countries with the highest incidence, and that would be India under Modi, Bolsonaro's Brazil, and the United States under Trump. We have the highest losses in economics. We have the highest losses in human life. We have the highest infection rate. And you still have people who believe that this mercenary capitalism is this philosophy, this Trump philosophy of, my butt belongs on a golden toilet instead of a ceramic one like everybody else's. That this is
Because,
how
the
life should
ceramic
be.
toilets are only good for the peasants because his entire focus is wealth generation and power, which is every mercenary capitalist, every driving factor is wealth.
And
Perhaps not power, but the creation of wealth. Their entire job is to make more profit and cut costs.
Well, and
the principle of wealth.
What do I call that, Marie? The consolidation of wealth and power is white man magic. That is their goal in life. That is when they feel that they are the most invincible. And that is the problem that we're seeing here, is when we revert to this colonialism type of attitude, public health and human lives be damned. As long as
everything takes a hit.
Everything.
When we don't value human life, everything takes a hit. When we allow, and this is the frustrating part a little bit. So we founded, this country was founded on mercenary capitalism. We fought to get rid of mercenary capitalism, supposedly. That's what we tell our kids. But in reality, we didn't fight to get rid of mercenary capitalism. We fought to become mercenary capitalists. So this whole idea of who our nation is, it drives me nuts because it's not true. It has been by the rich, for the rich since the inception.
Well,
and we have to change that.
Murray, when we went to more of a global economy, and again, I'm going to go back to Reagan. When Reagan opened the floodgates and let our jobs fly out of the United States for manufacturing, when he did that, he did it to break the unions. We've been over that in our go back and look at our episode why Ronald Reagan is the worst president in history and why I hate him so much, because by letting those jobs out,
Trump will take that.
Well, yeah, he's especially with the mass murder thing. But we're
second worst president in history.
Yeah. Anyway, we've had some real
followed closely by Nixon and Adams. John Adams was a horrible president.
Wait, who came in after Lincoln? Andrew Johnson. Sorry, he's number 3 for me. So he's
all right.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say is that, when we changed from being a country basing our wealth and importance on our own personal countrywide wealth, and we switched it to individuals being wealthy within our country. All right. When we took away the wealth and growth for our country and gave that away and gave it to individuals, we had a change in how capitalism works, because one of the principles of capitalism is that wealth is static, meaning it doesn't shift. It should never go down. And we know that's why trickle down doesn't work. It's never worked. And that's why we have disparity in income. In Illinois, we're trying to pass fair tax because we know that the disparity and how people who make over $250,000 a year live compared to the most of us, which make $58,000 or less per year in Illinois.
And Heidi, talking about fair tax is a great example.
Right.
But it is so hard to change people's minds on why people who make more money should pay more in taxes. Because it is so ingrained in everything that we do, in every message that we get.
Oh,
and it's like, guys,
you're
no,
just
this is how
jealous
it's
of their
supposed to
wealth.
work.
No, they use more. They should spend more. They should pay more.
Right?
Damn it!
It's mind-boggling to me.
I know. It's like that's why people who make over $250,000 a year are more likely to send their children to private schools and try to bankrupt public schools and try to have charter schools. It's like this whole thing is so secular.
Because human, mercenary capitalist society in mercantilism, as we were colonies founded by mercantilism, humans are just a commodity. They are a labor force to generate wealth and power for those in a higher position. That is exactly where we are, and we have never escaped it. Like in Illinois, guys, it's a chance to do something intelligent and not dumb. We need to change our fundamental thinking and start to understand history.
Well,
Amen.
Amen. I always tell you, Marie, that the people who don't get it were the ones that were lazy learners. They escaped high school with a D. Because they still pass you out of school to get rid of you at that. And I was not a great student in high school. I was a much better college student, because then I wanted to go. And I think and I saw that in my children as well. So.
Well, that's another show we need to do, is comparing regular classes to college and the difference in learning. But we have wrapped up our Mercenary Capitalism tour through history, letting you know that mercantilism sounds like a made-up word, totally not. Actually is mercenary capitalism. Our nation was founded on it. It has driven our nation, and we need to stop it.
It's driven us right over a cliff lately. So we need to rein this ship in, honey, because I don't know how we recover from this unless we can all get in the same...
By changing mercenary capitalism. So, if you want more information or more shows, because we're just that fantastic, check us out at YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, any place you get your favorite podcasts. We have some more candidate series coming out. Be sure to check us out. Like, subscribe, and share to Heartland Mamas.
MAMAS.com, and also proudly part of the Demcast USA Network. So thank you, everybody, for stopping in. I know Murray was so fired up today, I just wanted to let her go. She could have done the Murray show today. And that's fine, because she was really passionate about this. Anyway, and then I get off on Ronald Reagan and we get lost. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.